President Obama and Governor Mitt Romney trading punches last night on everything from the civil war in Syria to Iran's nuclear program. But which man can claim victory? Syndicated columnist and Fox News contributor Charles Krauthammer says Governor Romney came out on top. Here is Charles last night.
I think it's unequivocal. Romney won, and he didn't just win tactically, but strategically. Strategically, all he needed to do was basically draw. He needed him to continue the momentum he's had since the first debate, and this will continue it. Tactically, he simply had to get up there and show that he's a competent man, as somebody you could trust as commander-in-chief, a man who knows every area of the globe, and he gave a lot of interesting extra details, like the Haqqani network, which gave the impression that he knows what he's talking about. But there's a third level here, and that is what actually happened in the debate. We can argue about the small points or the debating points. Romney went large. Obama went very, very small, shockingly small. Romney made a strategic decision not to go after the president on Libya or Syria or other areas where Obama could accuse him of being a Bush-like warmonger. Now, I would have gone after Obama on Libya with a baseball bat.
Do undecided voters agree with that assessment? Several snap polls taken right after the debate are giving a narrow advantage to the president. Vice President Joe Biden approved of the president's performance, as you might expect, slammed Governor Romney in the process, saying that Governor Romney doesn't have what it takes to lead America on the world stage. Listen.
I didn't see anything that the governor disagreed on, and he seemed to be desperately trying to demonstrate he agreed with the president's policies. What Governor Romney showed today, and I felt a little badly because it's clear he is not ready to be the commander-in-chief of the United States military. He demonstrated a lack of sophistication about what's going on in the world, his rapid change in his positions. Look, being president requires a clear vision and a steady hand. That's exactly what President Obama demonstrated tonight, and it's exactly what Governor Romney demonstrated was lacking.
All right, so who won? Joining us now for a fair and balanced debate, Simon Rosenberg, president and founder of NDN, also a former Clinton campaign advisor. Ron Bonjean is with us as well on the right of your screen, former communications director to former House Speaker Dennis Hastert. All right, Simon, to you first. It's a who won question, but also it's a question about who advanced their campaign priorities the most. Give us your take.
Sure. I mean, every poll and every focus group done last night had Barack Obama winning the debate. And I think, the Democrats feel very good today. We've won 3 out of the last 4 debates. We feel like we've got momentum going into these final 2 weeks. And I think it's very hard to argue that Mitt Romney had a good night. I know that Charles Krauthammer made a valiant effort to show that he had a good night, but there's just no polling data that's evident of that. And I think to say that he had an adequate performance, he passed the threshold, you want to come in this final debate and do a good job. You want to come out of this thing with momentum, your troops fired up. That's just not the case for the Republicans today. So I think Democrats feel confident. We're ahead in the Electoral College. 2/3 of the polls out in the last week have Obama ahead by 2 or 3 points. I think we feel pretty good, but we know this is going to be close, and it's going to be a tough fight at the end. Well,
you also want to come out of a debate like that, Ron, not scaring people. And for instance, we just spoke with Wendy Biondi, who was an undecided voter, attended the second debate. She said she liked what Romney had to say last night.
Right. I mean, if you look at what Mitt Romney did, is he won the debate on what he needed to do, which is to look presidential, and the polls say that the polling says that he can handle the role as commander-in-chief by far and away. I think it was 60 to 36%. And what he didn't do is take the bait that the president laid out for him, is to get into the arguments on serious details regarding foreign policy. Obama was so aggressive against Mitt Romney because he knows Mitt Romney has the momentum now going into the election. And he's trying desperately to stop the momentum and to trap Mitt Romney and try to make him unlikable. Right now, Mitt Romney is now going off in the next 2 weeks. It's doing very, very well. In fact, there's stories just on the Drudge Report talking about Democrats possibly pulling, the Obama campaign possibly pulling out of North Carolina. And the president's comments regarding the Navy were devastating to the battleground state of Virginia, where you have all those Navy workers in shipyards.
What about that, Simon? I mean, Virginia is a critical state this time around, and do you think that the president lost any naval votes, any Navy veterans, any active duty Navy personnel as a result of what he had to say about the Navy?
president didn't attack the Navy last night, and I think any assertion that he did is just farcical and silly and was not people paying attention to what he said. What he said is we have a more modern Navy. We have more effective capacities. You can't measure it just based on the number of boats you have, but on the force that we can project. We have nuclear submarines. We have aircraft carriers. We didn't have those things 70, 80 years ago. So I think the president was affirming that smart strategic investments in modernizing our Navy has made it even more effective and more lethal than it was 70 or 80 years ago. So I don't think he lost anybody in the Navy and the Marines. And I think the real problem for Mitt Romney last night was what it said about leadership. I mean, what we want of our leaders is to be steady and strong. He was all over the place changing his positions. We want our leaders to be honest and truthful to us. He lied repeatedly on national television last night. And I think that on the leadership test, he failed the leadership test, and he lost the debate.
All right. Give us your take on the president's points, Ron.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to say, first of all, Obama compared the Navy to horses and bayonets that we don't use anymore, which I thought was really interesting, which I think there will be a lot of ads in the state of Virginia moving battleground voters. And I think that Mitt
Bring
Romney...
him on, Ron. Bring him on.
Okay. Mitt Romney, again, he has momentum. President tried to take that momentum away and just couldn't do it. You could see the president trying to get under Mitt Romney's skin with sound bites, regarding his foreign policy, and it wasn't working.
All right.
And it looked like somebody, if you looked at it, if you had no idea who was president or not president, it looked like Mitt Romney was president and President Obama was the challenger.
Well, it always takes a few days for these things to sink in. We'll see what the polls show us, say, next week, but it was an interesting night, and that's the last one for this campaign cycle. Simon Rosenberg, Ron Bonjean, thanks for that fair and balanced.
Thank you.